Hello, greeting boxing fans. This is the Historical Boxing Society podcast, and today's episode I want to do on how to judge a fighter with long losing streaks. So I'm currently working on a fighter profile right now of a fireman Jim Flynn. And this phenomenon is happening to him where he has long stretches, multiple years, 20, 30 fights in a row where you're losing. So, as the average fight fan, you're going to look at this and get a very distorted version of the fighter because obviously when you're losing for like an entire decade, you're going to think, well, how good could he be? I mean, he lost 10 years in a row. I mean, so how are we going to really view this phenomenon happening? I call this the Peter Maher syndrome, where you have a very, very good fighter, and then they continue to earn a paycheck way past their prime. So they've fallen off the edge of their earth, but they're still able to stay in shape, and they want to collect a paycheck by getting into the ring with the future fighters. I really think that's an admirable trait, and I don't think we should hold that against them for trying to want to earn a paycheck. So in fireman Jim Flynn's case, he's got a long losing streak. So how I approach this is very simple. Because I have my own boxing score, and I go up to the point where they're still earning credit when I know they're coming out of their prime, and they're able to get draws. A draw would earn some credit; you'd get 1 point. But when you have a straight L, a loss, you're getting 0 points. So when you're getting no credit is where I'll pull the plug on the fighter. And then from whatever that point happens, from that point on, is of no significance to me. I have whatever losses they have, I don't hold it against the fighter. And whatever good that they perform past their prime, I will apply that. So I take out all the good, and whatever bad that happens is of no consequence to me because they're just trying to earn a paycheck. We're all aware of that, and you can't hold that against the fighter is how I approach it. So boxing history is a long phenomenon of these fighters trying to hoodwink the public and trying to get a paycheck well past their prime. I mean, it traces way back to the guy that Bob Fitzsimmons won his first title from, Nonpareil Jack Dempsey. So he showed up for what I would call an exhibition because he's multiple years removed out of his prime, facing Tommy Ryan, the superstar middleweight. So everyone that went to that show was anticipating greatness, and what they seen was fat, flabby Jack Dempsey in no shape, and I think both fighters were aware of this. They're totally trying to hoodwink the public, and they got booed mercifully, cans, whatever. They had popcorn thrown into the stage at the fighters. I mean, they were pissed. And this phenomenon, that happened in 1895. It just kept happening. I mean, just a few late years after 1895 was Peter Jackson coming way out of retirement to fight Jeffries, and everyone's expecting just the fight of the century, and what they got was nothing even close to it because he's nowhere near his prime. So during these fights, obviously the Peter Jackson and Jeffries, it should give you zero indication that Jackson is inferior to Jeffries. You should hold nothing that happens in that fight accountable to the fated fighter. Same goes for James J. Jeffries against Jack Johnson. You would think of all the people in the entire world, Jeffries ought to know better because he's seen the example done with Peter Jackson, and then he does the same mistake Peter Jackson does. Like, what on earth are you thinking? But, just like Peter Jackson, Jeffries wanted the paycheck. So these fights should just be viewed as exhibitions. Now, an exhibition would be different than a sparring session because a sparring session would actually probably, in some cases, be more competitive than an exhibition. But the early part of history views these as actual bouts. when in fact the later part of history views these as exhibitions. So that's really what they are. So I digress. When we go to the point of long losing streaks, extract whatever good you can take out of it, and whatever bad that you want to hold accountable for that fighter, in my mind, should be just completely inadmissible in the court of law. Just none of it should have any impact on trying to negatively affect the fighter for trying to earn a paycheck. A lot of these guys had the love of the sport. They wanted to see the future fighters, and what better way to see them than in the ring? We cannot hold a person accountable for trying to earn a paycheck and for the love of the sport. I mean, they're boxers after all. So if they lose for 20 years, none of that would have any impact on how I'm trying to rate the fighter. What matters is what they're doing in their prime. That's the only thing that's of consequence in trying to rate a particular fighter.